Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right. Sheer, you're laughing.
My daughter just texted me that you'll like this because this is right up your alley. She currently doesn't have a teacher in her class because her teacher has the craps.
Well, trust me, I can understand that.
I thought of you automatically, Mike.
As you should. All right. We've got a lot to get to. Man, all right. Listen, this is far. Obviously, Brent Brennan's been hired. We will get into that. And what we're going to tell you is far from done.
Use our favorite word, Mike. Fluid.
The situation is fluid. But Brent Brennan has been hired, but there's a lot more that possibly goes into that. Let's first talk about Brent Brennan. This guy has wanted the U of A job for his life. Or I will say this. If there's a Kenny Dillingham equivalent of somebody that is basically that's their dream job, this is probably as close to Brent Brennan's dream job as he's ever had, Jason Shearer.
Yeah. I mean, look, we made the case, whether you like Brennan or not, we'll put that to the side. If your goal is longevity at Arizona, you're tired of the new head coach every 3 years, it was Brennan, and it's not even close. This guy is going, and I hate saying it because I know it's a business and all that. This guy's going to be at Arizona until he gets fired, if he gets fired. Like, he's not leaving. This is a guy, like I was just telling you, like, even though you knew this, like, this is a guy that spoke for 5 minutes at Dick Tomey's celebration of life. His brother played here.
His brother was a starting wide receiver on the best team in school history.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, his wife has family here. There is an absolute connection to this town.
Okay, we're going to get into all of this, but here's what I'm going to say. And again, everybody out there, this situation is fluid. So
do not quote us as it being done
on this. Please do not quote us. But right now, I feel very comfortable in telling you this. Right now, people around the U of A, the people that would know, feel pretty comfortable. Again, this is not done, but feel pretty comfortable that they're going to be able to keep the nucleus of this roster intact.
I don't know the details, but I know that there was good, very positive meetings yesterday between a lot of people. And that's why I posted yesterday that it had shifted a bit, that there was a belief. And I will say this, like, if something changes and Noah and T-Mac enter the portal, and I'm not saying the word, that's if something changes, I actually don't think it would be for Washington. I would be surprised if it was for Washington. That's not a big thing right now. But as of now, I believe the nucleus of this team is very more likely to stay than not.
Yes, and that is exactly what I've heard. Actually, I told you some of this. Dennis Dodd, take it for what it's worth, reported, even though he misspelled Noah Fafita's name for about the 10 millionth time. Yeah, but this would be, again, this would be the ultimate save of all saves by my guy, Dave Hickey. And again, Shearer, you and I were talking about this on the phone just earlier. Karma revisits people that are good people in good ways, Jason Shearer.
I can't think of any bigger blow to Jedd Fisch than if somehow Brent Brennan keeps the roster, somehow brings Johnny Nansen and Dwayne Aquina back, and is able to bring back a guy like Kevin Cummings and maybe Jason Kafusi. Like, that would be crushing to Jedd Fisch in the way that he would start at Washington.
And on top of that, it would also be a real problem. It would also be a real problem too if he wasn't able to really bring anybody. I mean, that would be a real indication too. One thing I will tell everybody out there is that his meeting with the players, and we're going to get back to Brent Brennan. We got all kinds of time, but this is important to talk about how we got here. His meeting, Jedd Fisch's meeting with his players could not have gone any worse. He came in there and essentially looked like I had multiple people tell me he kept glancing at the door like I need to get out of here, and said, guys, I'm taking the Washington job. I'll see you guys later. And he was out. And what really rubbed, and I've talked with multiple parents about this, what really rubbed people the wrong way was there was no communication. There was nothing really at all. And that's really what rubbed so many the wrong way. And that you talk about this whole family environment, this and that, and you show up and it's essentially peace out, guys, and I'm looking out the door. Their loyalty that Jedd Fisch, I think, that some people thought that Jedd Fisch inspired in so many, I think kind of went out the door with the way that he left this team.
Well, it was described to me by a player's parent through the player that it was as if the Washington AD had pulled up to the curb and was waiting in the car and said, hey, Jedd, you could go run in and say goodbye, but we got a plane to catch. Like
right.
There was no explanation of why he took the job. And look, Kalen DeBoer's explanation at the end of the day probably doesn't mean a lot, but you're emotional. You're talking about 10 minutes. I love you. Call me if you need anything. I have heard from multiple parents and recruits that are signed, early enrollees. They have yet to hear from anyone on the Arizona coaching staff. Like Jordan Washington, and I know he's an early enrollee. He's at the Polynesian Bowl. He's supposed to get to campus when the Polynesian Bowl is over. Told me that he hasn't heard from one coach.
And I had somebody tell me this, that, and again, this is just random, that, nobody was going to begrudge you for taking the Washington job, but I deserved a call.
Yeah.
I deserved a call. And
there are some very good players on this team that have yet to hear from Jedd Fisch.
So that's something that you really need to keep in mind when we're looking at this. And let's just put it like this. And again, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but man, you might as well erect a Noah Fifita statue like right by Lute Olson if he were to somehow stay. Again, certainly not done by any means, but the fact that nobody has jumped in the portal, the fact that they're going to meet with the coach, that's very unique in this day and age here. I mean, I think when Lincoln Riley left to USC, Caleb Williams, Mario, what is the receiver, Mario, whatever his name was, they were there almost immediately. That to me is something that you got to keep in mind. Irish Mike says, technically, is Jedd allowed to contact them now? No, but it was before. It was a lot of people thought we kind of deserve a phone call here, and especially certain people. So that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're at with this. Also, Brent Brennan. This, like I said, this would be the save of all saves. If you bring him in, he wants to be here. You would never have to worry about him leaving. I feel pretty comfortable in saying that Dwayne Aquina will be back on this staff in some way, shape, or form. And Johnny Nansen certainly Johnny Nansen's going to probably have a choice to make as well. But so far, so good. Again, this is fluid, but it looks good right now.
Yeah, Texas guy was just texting me, reaching out. He has heard the same thing with Aquina. He's not sure if he has accepted yet. He's reaching out to his people. But the expectation, and look, it could just be an analyst. I think people have to realize that, like, when you're Dwayne Aquina's age, you don't want to move around all over the place, right? Like, we said it yesterday. We kind of hinted at it. It's become very clear. Dwayne Aquina didn't leave Texas because he wanted to go to Texas. Right. Dwayne Aquina went to Texas because he wanted to get away from a guy that was at Arizona.
Correct.
And that guy's gone. So if that guy's gone, Dwayne Aquina's probably coming back.
I feel pretty comfortable in saying too that Johnny Nansen and Dwayne Aquina were just not big Jedd Fisch people. I think that's I think that's more than fair to say.
By the way, that's a great comment by your boy Dennis Walsh.
What do you say?
If Dylan Anderson hasn't left, no one leaves.
Oh, by the way, that's a great point. And and it's not Dennis Walsh, it's the great Dennis Walsh. You unblocked him on Twitter, right?
Yeah. I never blocked him at all.
You muted him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dennis. I'm sorry. I did. All right. Now I don't have anything as far as San Jose State players. We'll deal with that. I
went over the roster. This is gonna sound bad. First of all, his team is very senior oriented. It's a very old team. I would probably count like 5 guys that they have a really good. This is crappy. They have a really good wide receiver, Nick Nash, who I'd probably take, but I don't even think that's in Brent Brennan's mind frame right now. And I guarantee you, if it's someone on staff, because this is the type of dude that Brennan is, If it is a current San Jose State coach that gets promoted, I bet you Brennan tells the players to stay with them. I really do.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique situation for sure, and it's a little bit different. All right, now we questions. What does Aquina mean for Nansen? Aquina's kind of the catch-all here, in that he doesn't really. He and Nansen became pretty good friends over this past year. They became. When Johnny Nansen got to Texas, he's like, yeah, you should probably bring this Dwayne Aquina guy with him. He knows what he's talking about. But Dwayne Aquina, I could honestly see him being anywhere from the DC to just another senior analyst again. And I think he would be totally cool with either one. Aquina, to me, he's the guy. He's the, what is it? The medicine man or the whispering, what is the
whispering medicine man?
He is the whispering medicine man. Yes, he is. Dwayne Aquina is the whispering medicine man. But he would obviously
Ephesians Prysock has just entered the transfer portal.
All right, well, there's one. But we'll find out. Like I said,
this is gonna sound bad. I love Ephesians Prysock. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I don't think he wasn't one of the Nansen guys. Like, I don't think bringing back Nansen would have impacted Ephesians Prysock.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, I get it.
Some of these guys, people have to realize some of these guys are going to leave. Arizona could have hired Nick Saban, and some of these dudes are going to leave.
Right, for sure. And again, like we said a billion times, this is just kind of the feel. We try to give you what the feel is down by the U of A. This is the feel. Now, I will say the defensive backs, it's definitely a very talented defensive backs unit. Well, again, we're going to know more as this unfolds, but no, it's a wrap. Oh, stop. He's a cornerback. Again, he's good, but
and you got to also keep in mind, he's officially in the transfer portal. It is 10:43 in the morning. That takes like a day. His decision was made when Jedd Fisch left.
Right.
Like this isn't a Brent Brennan thing.
Yes, for sure. That's not a Brent Brennan thing. So, and again, you can always, just because you enter the portal doesn't mean you're leaving.
Right. You got to enter the portal in 30 days. He could come back.
He could still come back. So that, I mean, you got that on there as well. Now let's talk about Brent Brennan. This is your guy. You wanted Brent Brennan, Jason Shearer. You were screaming from the mountaintops that you wanted Brent Brennan. But here's the thing that you actually made a good point. Where you said that, here's the thing. If you're somebody that's writing checks at the U of A, and it is what it is. You're still writing for Rich Rod. You're still writing for Sumlin. You're obviously Fish just left. After a while, you're like, just get somebody that's going to stay here.
Yeah. Look, I'm not rich. I'm rich with friends like you, Michael.
You are. That's true.
But like, if I was rich, and even if I had money, like, I paid for Rich Rod to go away.
Right.
I paid for Kevin Sumlin to go away. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Jedd Fisch leaves, and now I'm paying for a new head coach and his new staff. Like, eventually, I want to stop writing checks.
Right.
And now what I can do is I can write you a check for an upgrade on the facility. I can write you an NIL check, whatever it may be. But I don't have to write you a check to hire a new coach.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm not saying boosters should carry the hire, but if they want a guy and they're like, yeah, we're going to financially support him, we love him, he's a great dude, who am I to be like, do I choose them, or do I choose the 18-year-olds that are going to leave in a year anyway?
I'm curious about this. Jason and Mike, why are you carrying water for the athletic department? I would be curious for you to expand upon that a little bit, because I would be curious.
You don't know me very well.
Listen, if you that part to me is wild. Listen, Jason Shearer and I agree on much. Jason Shearer and I almost never talked because of Jason Shearer's treatment of Dave Hickey 5 years ago. This is true, Jason Shearer.
Yeah, we got in arguments over it
every day.
That's why I laugh when people are like, Jason, why you defend Dave so much? I do what the truth is. If that happens to be defending Dave,
but you also reported a lot of nonsense that wasn't true.
But now, for instance, right? Like I've softened up on Dave a bit, 100%. But it's like, what is Dave going to do to keep Jedd? They weren't raising the money,
right?
And why is this a bad hire? It's not a bad hire. And please spare me. I'm going on a little rant here, Mike. Do not send me the San Jose State record. Brent Brennan had to buy his team breakfast because there wasn't enough money at the school. I've been to that school. Go to that school and see their facilities. Like it's high schools have better facilities. The fact that he even won at that school at all is remarkable. Dick Tomey had a losing record at San Jose State. Like stop, like Jedd Fisch. Jedd Fisch was 6-18 in his career going into this season. He went 10-3 and still has a losing record. Not all records. Jonathan Smith at Oregon State was a loser for 4 years.
That is absolutely all right, Brad Town. So you have no information here. So there we go again. All right. Now there will be no my bad Hiki movement for me, no matter what happens. Nice try on that. I take the blame for much. I do not take the blame for that. Yes. And Clint Moses, you're correct. All right. Brad Town is Georgia Wrightster's burner. That was very funny. Georgia probably going to come on maybe next week or something, but we will make fun of Jedd at the end of the, yes, we will make fun of Jedd and his agent at the end. But first, Jason Scheer was talking about how he doesn't have any money. You know what he should be doing, peeps? Come on, Jason.
Selling books.
The BetMGM Sportsbook app, my friends. Here's the deal. Come on. Sign up for BetMGM. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile app for at least $5. You will receive 158 instantly in additional winnings, regardless of the wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. Maybe get a little bit of an Arizona over-under. But first, let's hear about the great Shane Diefenbach.
Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
All right, now here's my time for my BetMGM parlay. Take the under on Washington next year. Take the under on whatever it is, 1,000%, and then parlay that with the over for the Wildcats. What say you, Jason Scheer?
Yeah, let's go big. I'm really curious. We gotta. By the way, that would be funny if Brent Brennan can land Keona Wilhite.
That would be
very possible. By the way, yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in on Arizona football. We're both in a much better place than I think we were 48 hours ago. Man, you especially. I was worried about you.
Did you see that picture that was posted where somebody said when McDonald's runs out of chicken nuggets? And I'm like, it would have been something much. Much funnier.
What face is sadder? That face you made, or if Del Taco announced they were closing down completely?
U of A, because Del Taco still doesn't pay my bills necessarily. But all right, either way. Now let's get back. Where are we going with this? Okay, Brent Brennan. All right, like I said, wouldn't have been my hire, but there is something to be said for somebody that wants to be here. When you're at San Jose State, that is literally one of the worst institutions as far as putting together a winning record. What say you, Jason Scheer?
Yeah, can I just read something real quick? I just got from a very high up person a person with good relationships with the team.
Look at these humble brags. Go ahead.
Something I think you need to say. All of these coaches that have left, Nansen, Fisch, and I like them all as people, have made a case for taking the players as part of their hire, like a package. That means if they stick together at Arizona, they're going to win no matter who this coach is. Sure, there's some coaches they like and all that, but the reality is it's such a strong group of players and kids. They have the power. They have the ability to go win the Big 12 together if they just stick around. If they go to Washington, they're not winning the Big 10. They're not winning the SEC at Texas. So the question becomes, go win the Big 12 and honor your Arizona commitment, or go rebuild at Washington or not play at Texas. That is the pitch that they're making to players.
And I've got to, like I said, this is a special group of players. And I put this tweet out there. It's a special group of parents. I mean, you and I, like we've been doing this a long time. And this is a very unique group. And it's not just, unless Fafita is obviously the man, but it goes all the way down. It's a very loyal group of players. And not only is it a very loyal group of players, it's they're not about money. And I'm not even saying I'm not besmirching that at all, but they're not about money. Noah Fafita and T-Mac could have made a lot of more money going to other places. They had that option. And this is a group of kids that I think was very, very upset with the way that Jedd Fisch left. Not that he left, but how he left. And that is, I think that's something that really is going to factor into this. Again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. This is all fluid, but this is a strong group of characters that the U of A has here, Sheer, and that's definitely something you can confirm as well.
Yeah, I mean, the kids, and we said it before, like the kids and their parents are great. Like I talk to parents. I probably talked to more parents on this roster than I have ever before on any football roster, and they're all level-headed. It's no BS, and God knows we've dealt with some parents, man.
Yes,
and so and that's the thing. Like these kids are close. Like we remember what Marshall Irby said at the end of the Alamo Bowl. That wasn't BS. Like This is a family, and so yeah, there's going to be some kids that leave. But I guarantee that these players are probably, after the Brent Brennan meeting tonight, are going to meet and discuss their next step. And that's why it's going to be either a lot of these guys are staying, and right now that's the case. And if they leave, there's probably going to be a lot of guys leaving. Whatever they do, they're very likely, they're not going to go to the same school, but they're very likely going to do it together because of how close they grew.
And I will say that, like I said, I think it's just a very special group of kids, though. So whatever they decide, we should support it. Because again, I can't tell you, and Sheer and I've spent a lot of time talking with these parents. Like I said, it's a very unique group of parents, and it's something you don't really see. And it's also it's just a great group of kids. And, even the thing with Johnny Nansen, that was out of loyalty. Those kids love Johnny Nansen, and, they put themselves out there. Obviously, Johnny Nansen wasn't hired. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be back in some capacity, but the chances of Arizona having a really, really good roster next year is still very much on the table, Jason Shear.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned it, like, I'll throw Fisch to the wolves. I don't care. I don't blame any kid for what they do right now. If they want to leave Arizona, so be it. I completely understand. I think that fans hopefully need to understand these players are doing what they feel is the best for them. It's just don't be mean to players. Coaches, say what you want. I don't care. This is a special, and I hate talking about Jedd at this point, but I think that's the biggest reason why this hurt, right? Is because like Arizona, Tucson fell in love with this team on and off the field, and Jedd just left it, and I think people.
And again, like I said, I'll say this again. I had somebody tell me I wouldn't have talked him out of it. I wouldn't have told him what to do. I just felt that I deserved a phone call, and I think that's more than applicable. Now, I will say this. Like I said, if Noah Fifita and T-Mac were to come back to Tucson, you could put statues of them next to Lute Olson as far as what they would mean just to this community. So again, they got to make the best decision for them, but it's going to be fascinating to watch how this unfolds over the next 48, 72, 96 hours.
And I got to say, like, just so people know, it is a 30-day deal. Like I believe they have until like February 14th. So, but I think the bleeding will be stopped one way or another in the next 48 hours. I think the next 48 hours is extremely vital to the future of this program.
Yeah. All right. There we go. There's our short. Let's see here. What did 3-minute speech to the players speaks volumes about who someone is? Yes. And we are going to continue to talk about Jedd Fisch because there's nothing wrong with it. The wounds are still open. All right. Now, we're going to get back to Brennan in a minute here. One thing I do want to say, though, that I was going to put out there that I don't understand at all, and this keeps the Jedd Fisch's agent is making the rounds. Trying to, obviously, because he knows that his guy doesn't look well or doesn't look good in all of this. Here's what I keep coming back to. If you can't tell some people that you haven't had real contract negotiations since September and then go on Jim Rome and say you're closing in on a deal, that's not how it works, Jason Shear.
Yeah. Should I said the whole story on my podcast, but let's
go ahead, say it.
That agent called me as well. And I basically pushed back on a few things. And he said, oh, by the way, this is all off record. My guess is George, and hey, I'm not going at George at all.
No, not at all. George got to do what George got to do for sure.
George didn't push back, and because he didn't push back, he received the ability to report that story. And I didn't watch the video, and I was on the phone with someone who's watching it while they were watching it, and I was literally verbatim telling him what the guy was going to say. and he did. Here's the deal. Jedd hasn't been figured out until he left Arizona.
Right.
And we were warned. We didn't really listen. Me and you were warned about Jedd.
Mm-hmm.
And he was hired. We heard about him from other people that had known him.
Right.
And there's still a lot of people that like him. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is hurtful to Jedd that for the first time ever, he's as a person getting kind of hit. And so his agent is on the PR tour trying to save face for all this.
One thing about it, we've seen coaches in the past that don't really care about your favorite term, optics, or don't understand it. Rich Rod didn't understand social media. He was never going to go on social media. He didn't get it. Kevin Sumlin, I don't even know that he had social media. Although he did like Scott Schlittenhardt's tweet a while back. But with your guy, senior editor Scott Schlittenhardt at Wildcat Authority. But the one thing about it though is that Jedd Fisch understands all of the optics. He understands everything that's going on. When he took that video, none of that was by accident. Having the little Wildcat sign off to the side as the Washington I almost said GM, is the Washington AD is walking in there. He's super happy. And like Shelby said as well, which I thought was very interesting. She said, you're literally writing about how heartbroken you are about leaving. And then you're posting a video at the same time with the biggest smirk ever. That was, he knew what he was doing, period.
His presser's here in like 3 minutes, I think, or maybe it's an hour. I don't know. Time change. I'm very curious. I'm not watching that, but I'm very curious to see what he says. Yeah, I mean, look, Rich Rod couldn't care less about optics. Like there were a few things that pissed him off, but you know, I always tell this story like with Rich Rod because it always sticks in my mind of how I asked him about what a player tweeted, and he yelled at me. Literally yelled at me. I'd never done that. He yelled at me. The next practice, he comes up to me, gives me a hug, and apologizes.
Right.
Like the thing about Rich is, and you'll hear this from everyone, Rich is a real dude, right? There was no BS with Rich. And I hear the same about Brennan. What you see is what you get with Brennan. What you see with Jedd is not what you get with Jedd.
All right, and we keep getting these putzes that are coming in here and saying this. Nobody begrudges. Hold on, I'm going to go back to this again because it's getting very, very annoying. Arizona Dodgers fan. Well, speaking of somebody that doesn't know how to win anything big, you can blame Saban or Jedd for your downfall. Truth is, you guys, Washington is a better school or is a better opportunity. Duh, we get it.
I never understand this. So this dude is clearly an ASU fan, right?
Correct.
ASU's lost to Arizona the last 2 years, correct?
Right.
So what does that make ASU if they lost to such a bad school?
Exactly. And what does that make them in basketball?
I hate that argument. I hate it. Your school sucks, so what does that make you?
Yeah, I know. And sorry, Andrew, you're right. We shouldn't, but at the same hold on. Because What?
Mike's getting texts.
I'm getting texts.
I saw on the question on the side, San Jose State already knows. They're going to have a team meeting. I don't know what time, but the AD's already been told that by Brent Brennan that he's gone. They're on a plane right now.
Right, for sure. So again, we will find this one out. All right, now let's move on to Brent Brennan, my friends. Brent Brennan. All right, so we should however good Brent Brennan is going to be at the U of A is how good Brent Brennan's going to be at the U of A. Jason Shearer.
Yeah. What does that mean?
He wants to be here. He's going to push it. You're not going to have to worry about him shortcutting. Yes. Here's the thing. Rich Rod could have won 10 or 11 games here at the U of A. And what, but
my phone's blowing up with Nebraska news, Mike.
What's the Nebraska news?
Nebraska has hired, Glenn Thomas as quarterbacks coach.
Oh, that's big. That's big. Let's shut it down. Jacob Franklin, we got to shut it down. But also we got to give Dave some credit on this, by the way. We got to give Dave a little bit of credit on this as well. We said that whoever the hire is, it had to be made in the next 48 hours. They got in on it. You and I were worried it was going to drag into like next week.
I mean, obviously I have to look and all that. This might be the quickest non-promotion college football hiring in history.
Right.
It was basically 24 hours.
Right.
It's wild.
Hold on a second. This is good. This is very, very good. I am curious to see what happens. Oh, let's see here. George is messaging. George Reinster. What is this?
I was just saying rushing. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh,
Here
no,
we go.
no. There was none of that. No, there was none of that. Okay. By the way, our guy Brian J. Peterson was really on one yesterday. I liked that as well with it. Okay. All right, now let's talk about the staff moving forward. Ideally, you bring in Nansen. Ideally, you bring in Aquina. Defensively, then I think you're kind of set. Now, I don't know that that's going to happen, but I think you would keep a good percentage of the roster. And offensively, what are we looking at there?
Well, the big one that I would follow is, while Kevin Cummings is important, the big one is San Jose State coach Alonzo Carter, the running backs coach, is a stud. Brandon Huffman tweeted earlier that the easiest thing San Jose State could do is promote him right now. Right. He is awesome. He's literally one of the best recruiters in the country. If he doesn't go to San Jose State, he's going to come to Arizona, and he is going to be a monster here.
Right.
That is the big one. And Pete Thamel put out that he believes San Jose State is going to hire an experienced head coach. Mm-hmm. So that means that Carter would come to Arizona. That is a very big deal. He's a very big California recruiter. Cummings is the other one. I don't know if Cummings leaves Washington to go to Arizona as just a wide receivers coach. Maybe you give him the co-offensive coordinator title. That is something I'm watching closely as well. Who's going to be Brennan's OC. Offensive line coach Josh Oglesby is very good. I'm also keeping an eye on the cornerbacks coach at San Jose State, who has a familiar name, Chip Viney. You may remember him. He's in, so there's definitely some good coaches on that staff. Their D-line coach, Joshua Malo, is Polynesian. Mm-hmm. By the way, San Jose State is very heavy Polynesian. That will still be a thing. If you look at the roster, they have multiple. Their whole D-line is pretty much Polynesian.
Right. Okay. Now, that's a big part. And one thing that we have found out, though, and what we did know, the Polynesians are an incredibly loyal group of people. These are not people that are dedicated necessarily by money. Also, with Brent Brennan, this is somebody that's going to have listen, he's a Dick Tomey. He was close with Dick Tomey. Dick Tomey made a living off of Polynesian players, from your Edwin Mulitalos to your Joe Salaveas, to your Manu Saveas. I just named 3 players that Jason Scheer would have no clue who they are if they walked through the building.
You just made up a bunch of Polynesian names, dude.
Yeah, I mean, one guy started for the NFL for 15 years, but that's all I'm saying. By the way, before we get back to this, let's talk about, what should we talk about? All right, screw it. Circle K. When was the last time you went to Circle K, Jason Scheer?
Yesterday, actually.
All right. So here's the deal. Circle K, join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. You guys all need to go to Circle K. Jacob Franklin is there all the time. And not only is Jacob Franklin there all the time, he has a good time doing it. Also, Illegal Pete's. Jason Scheer, when was the last time you went to Illegal Pete's? You've been there before. This is true.
I drove by it yesterday.
What's that?
I drove by it yesterday.
And it didn't call you?
It was crowded.
All right. Yeah. Well, and there's a reason that it's crowded. I mean, the kids are back. And again, I have to go there in the summer because the cool kids go there during the year. I can't get in at that point, so I go in during the summer. But with Illegal Pete's, ring in the new year with Illegal Pete's weekly deals. Kick the Monday blues with $3 margaritas all day long, or ease your way back into the week with $2 Taco Tuesdays. Do your work in healthcare or education. Take your team to lunch at Illegal Pete's every Tuesday and enjoy buy one, get one free entrees. And don't forget to unwind after a long day at their happy hour, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day. Illegal Pete's, your go-to spot for burritos, buddies, and beer. I am not a cool kid, TLN. We've been over this a million times. Nobody accepts me. That's why Jason Scheer talks with me. I have no friends outside of Jason Scheer and the great Jacob Franklin. That's where we're at. All right, now going into the Big 12. Listen, Brennan's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Big 12 is going to be an interesting opportunity now for him because we're excited to go in there. It's going to be fun, but there's also not a team, especially if Arizona was able to bring some players back, that you're at all scared of.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps this roster together, Arizona's right there where we thought they would be, near the top of the Big 12. And it's exciting. His style of play will fit in the Big 12, and that's something. It's hard for me to say this because I don't want to diss the Big 12, but it's kind of like what someone texted me and I read before. This isn't the SEC or the Big 10. It's just not. Like, you're not – like, if Jedd's roster isn't good enough at Washington, they will lose 8 games next year, no problem.
Right. And
like Arizona –
every single one of those losses.
Like, even if Arizona – obviously, if Arizona, the roster's gutted, it's going to be tough. But if Arizona loses, like, 5 players – there's probably enough players in the portal to replace. Like, I love Ephesians Prysock, right? Mm-hmm. But if Jordan Shaw is convinced to stay at Arizona, you're going to be okay. You know what I mean?
Right, for sure. Now, I'm also going to say that no news is good news in a lot of these situations, though, too. If you don't have the, if these guys aren't in that portal in the next 48 hours, I think that's a very, 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 very good sign, because this is also something, too, where you have to be able to, you got to move at some point. So I'm also of the opinion, Jason, that no news is good news.
Yes, I absolutely believe that, because it was described to us 48 hours ago, 24 hours ago, that it was going to be a mass exodus ASAP. Well, let's see. If there's no mass exodus by the end of tomorrow, it's very possible that means that Arizona has kind of withstood the storm.
Right.
I think Brent Brennan is going to get in front of these players and really impress them. I really do.
And I think what's also, because he also knows Brent Brennan isn't stupid. He knows he knows that this isn't a roster. This isn't the roster that Jedd Fisch inherited, where you're walking in there like, oh gosh, I guess Gunnar Cruz is my best player. This is, or no, although he brought Gunnar Cruz.
Come on.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot. But by the way, the dogs are the absolute stars of this show. They are absolutely fantastic, and you deserve it. But you're going, he knows the amount of talent that's still on this roster. He also knows what he needs to, he knows that he's got to hit the ball out of the park here, and we're going to find out what he's about. It's going to be an interesting first test for him. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, let's be honest, that's what he's going to be judged on by this fan base until he takes the field. His roster retention is going to be what we're talking about until spring football.
Right.
His ability to add guys in the portal, roster retention, all that. That is 100% what we are judging Brent Brennan on until spring football.
We need Ted Wardo. Dennis Walsh, totally agree that we need Ted Wardo. I agree with that.
Look at B. Come here, B.
What we're also going to find out, too, and it'll be interesting, if he's able to keep that roster intact, we're going to find out what kind of coach he is in the first year.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he's a good coach. I don't think there's any proof he's not a good coach.
Right. He's going to be at a place where you can win. And he's going to be at a place where you can win. I guess we're going to find that out. Now, let's see here. Roster retention and can actually recruit top. Now, recruiting. Let's talk recruiting. I think, listen, we just got done bashing Jedd Fisch, and we will continue to bash Jedd Fisch. But he definitely, I think, had the recruiting template down for how you win at Arizona. You get a lot of big Polynesians. You also, if you're going to miss, you're going to miss with big players. You're going to miss with fast players. I'd like to see that recruiting template continue, and I think you're going to see that under Brent Brennan.
Yeah, I'm not worried about recruiting. I'm really not, especially if his rumored staff is – look, he recruits pretty good players at San Jose State. They've had players that San Jose State is a finalist for, but they can't go there because it's like it's San Jose State at the end of the day, right? Alonzo Carter, if he comes, he's going to recruit good guys. We know Cummings, if he comes, can recruit. I'm actually not that worried about recruiting because I think Brent Brennan understands. Look, no, Brent Brennan knows what it takes to win, right? He won and he's not like, he's a smart guy. And here's the deal. He's very different than Jedd Fisch. He's a CEO type. He's not going to call the plays. Right. He's going to be involved in the offense and the defense. He's not just like Jedd. I don't even know if Jedd could name you 10 guys on the defensive side of the ball. The starters.
I think you can name the starters, but that's about it.
Yeah. So like it's a different style, but he has the reputation of being a fine recruiter. Like when you look at some of the guys he's landed, they're not bad at all.
Would I be a good recruiter? That was thrown out there.
No, you would scare people.
No, I would bring him Del Taco.
Yeah, can you imagine like these moms cook for like recruits and stuff or like coaches, and you come in and she's like, "Hey, do you want to sit down and have dinner?" And you're like, "No, I stopped at Del Taco on the way."
Oh, by the way, I got it up. Well, this isn't really an update. Big Bill Norton, BBN. BBN's mom liked my post about the shout out to what great group of parents it is. Hopefully that is a good sign. I said we'd love for you to stay, but we understand what you have to do. Everybody out there, just like I said, don't DM kids telling them that they should stay. That's just silly. But at the same point, you just say I think I actually hit the right note for once, where it's just kind of like, you guys are an awesome group of people. Would love for you to say, but going to root for you either way.
I'm looking at Brad's comment on the side. A fine recruiter at G5 is different. Look, you know what Arizona's recruiting class is ranked right now? 59th in the country.
Right.
For 10-3 season, Jedd Fisch finished with the 59th class in the country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like he's killing it in recruiting.
Yeah, but one thing about
last year they were 51st. It's evaluation.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle Whittingham showed that. Kyle Whittingham has showed that in spades. That you can win, but you have to be a master evaluator. You know what also is a master evaluator, Jason Scheer?
Who, Mike?
The Gila River Casino Resorts. Now, you might say, Mike, what kind of evaluator are those people? Well, listen. You see the blue wave. It immediately catches you when you're on I-10. Every single time you see it, it immediately catches you. Check it out. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. They offer an authentic and immersive experience at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. No one does it better. Okay, Jason, who are you? Oh, people are asking why you blocked them. Also, Teddy Bruschi. Teddy Bruschi is a figurehead. He's an all-time great. Teddy Bruschi has no impact here at the U of A. Teddy Bruschi isn't around. I don't know why people keep asking about Teddy Bruschi.
No, I don't know why. He doesn't do anything. He literally. To answer Brad's question, yeah, he still didn't recruit well. I mean, I got why the class wasn't great, but it still wasn't great. And the class the year before wasn't great either. It was 51st. Look, I expect Chuck Cecil to be around the program. I don't think he's going to be on the field anymore. I expect Ricky Hunley to be around the program. I don't think he's going to be on the field anymore. Teddy Bruschi, we didn't hear from Teddy Bruschi when Jedd was here. When did you hear from Teddy Bruschi? He'd go on ESPN once every 3 months and say, bear down. Gronk was here. Gronk, you can convince Gronk to come here whenever you want. You just have to call him.
By the way, Erica, you're a women's basketball writer doing some very good work, Erica. We're big fans of Erica here. Another person that I pushed in your direction and said Scheer needs actual help. Erica, you've been a great addition. Flo's IG caption this morning is nobody coming to save you. Lock in. Is he one? Oh, that's interesting.
Justin Flo's a but in a good way. I guarantee you he hasn't heard from Jedd.
Right. I will say
this also. He's very close to Bill Norton, so there's a very good chance they're a package deal.
He's a good friends with BBN?
They're like best friends.
Let's see here.
They met on the visit and they hang out all the time.
All right. I think we did really, really good work here. Scheer, what are you doing? Oh, actually, no, we got post game tomorrow, but who knows? Scheer, what are you doing Thursday?
I don't know.
Jacob Franklin, can I do a show Thursday? I'm supposed to take days off, but I don't like taking days off.
We got to see when the presser is too. Do we think the press conference is tomorrow or Thursday?
I would hope it's. Don't you I think you've got to make a spectacle, or I almost said Mike Tyson. I think you've got to make a spectacle out of him.
But usually, like the only thing is, like, sometimes they use McHale, and if they want to do it in McHale and make it a big spectacle with the band and the stuff, they can't. There's a basketball game.
Right. This week is too important. Need a show Thursday. I agree. Jacob Franklin, the people are putting it out there. Jacob Franklin, there must be a show on Thursday. I'll even self-produce. Here I am negotiating with Jacob Franklin just as I'm talking to myself. We will figure, either way, we'll figure this one out. But Scheer, before we sign off, where can they find you?
WildcatAuthority.com, Wildcat Scoop Podcast with Shelby and at Jason Scheer on Twitter.
All right. Now, you need to become a PHNX diehard, my friends. Go to Go PHNX. You can get access to the Discord. You can get access to Anthony Gemino. You can get all kinds of access. Saul Bookman, the great Saul Bookman, free throw champion Saul Bookman, saying, "I approve." I like hearing that, Saul Bookman. I like hearing.
What is the free throw champion? What do you mean?
What's that?
What is the free throw champion? What do you mean?
Oh, you didn't know this?
No.
All right. So I can't believe you don't know this. Saul, I get to tell you this story again. All right. So anyways, this is back when I was in college, and I was writing an article about a player that played at Pueblo High School, and he had, and I was looking up 50-point games in the AIA, and I'm looking down at consecutive free throws made. And guess who I come across? Saul Bookman. Saul Bookman has the state AIA record. I don't know if it's still the case, but it was the case at 2014 for the most consecutive free throws made.
That's wild.
Isn't that really cool?
That's actually really cool.
and he never talks about it. That's why it's on me to bring it up.
So modest. Just so modest.
Dude, but seriously, if I had an AIA record, I am 1,000% bringing that up.
You would order at Del Taco. Hi, they'd say, "What's your name for the order?" You'd be like, "Free throw champion Michael Luke."
Yeah, that would, yes, exactly. A Del Taco cheeseburger champion, Michael Luke. All right, AZ Cats G with one of the super snaps. Let's see. Thanks, Mike and Jason. We appreciate you. All right, the people that are coming in with the fake news, we don't get out of here with that. They've not entered the portal. So anyways, all right. We will be back with you, though, post-game tomorrow, and I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to have a show on Thursday as well. No days off in these parts, Jacob Franklin. But on that note, I am Michael Luke. That is Jason Scheer, the great Jacob Franklin behind the scenes. Appreciate all of you guys. We will be back with you again. We got post-game tomorrow, and then we're gonna keep this one going Thursday, then Friday until these wheels fall off, my friends. But on that note, let's see here. Signature Golf. Love watching you guys every day. I rely on your inside information. We rely on you guys. You're the ones that make the chat. You're a lot smarter than we are. But on that note, for Jason Scheer, I'm merely Mike Luke. That's Jacob Franklin. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.